Hey, Juan here. In today's video we are going to talk about how to classify products and what types of products are out there. The reality is that there's a ton of products. Everything almost is a product. Many things that you see around are products. Every physical item is a product. Most of the virtual items are products. So how do you classify products and why should you care about classifying products? In today's video we are going to talk about that and just understand a little bit how this affects potentially the development or the go-to-market for these different types of products. In today's video, we are going to cover different categories. We are going to compare durable versus non-durable products. We are going to compare B2B versus B2C products. We are also going to talk about tangible versus non-tangible products. And finally, we were going to talk, even if it's not necessarily products as such as a category, we are going to talk about offline versus online products. So let's get on with it. So the first category that we are going to talk about is the tangible versus intangible products. So tangible products are products that are typically physical products that you can actually touch and feel. So that frame over there, the painting, the wall, all these things are physical products, are tangible products, are things that you can actually touch and feel and interact with them without any other means. So a building, a vehicle, a toy, a physical toy are actually tangible products. Why is it important is because they actually are typically going to have some kind of manufacturing involved, which is going to be different from the development process that it's happening with technical products in general. As for go-to-market, traditionally these products have been sold either through some kind of warehouse or some kind of store or somewhere physical and through a one-to-one negotiation or one-to-one actually just purchasing of the item. Nowadays, of course, things are changing and companies are adopting different ways of selling, and you can see that the go-to-market is also changing for these tangible products, and shops like Amazon or any other online shops are actually selling these physical products or these tangible products to end users. Intangible products are products that actually can be felt indirectly. So you don't actually typically can't touch them or interact with them, at least not in an obvious way. And these are going to be things like a more traditional intangible products is going to be something like an insurance. As such, well, you obviously cannot touch or you cannot work with it or you don't even see it. But if something happens, if you have a problem, if you break your leg, then you have an insurance that is going to help you cover the costs of going to the doctor and getting it fixed. Digital products are also intangible products, and here it starts to be somehow confusing. Software products in general are intangible, but nowadays you start having things like VR and AR where you can actually start to feel things, and you could think that the actual software or the actual app that you're using is still intangible, but the VR is like a mean of making it tangible for you. But all this mixed reality starts to make some of the digital world things a little more tangible. So it starts to be a little bit blurry. What is the differentiation? Maybe we would need a new category for this kind of product. But for all of you, most of the audience that is following this channel is tech products. So typically your products, the products that you are building is going to be an intangible product. Intangible products are also going to be sold in many different ways. And we could just take a whole video in doing the go-to-market for tech products. But here you can do many things and you can sell it in many different ways. But we will come back a little later when we talk about selling online or selling offline the different products. The next category that we are going to talk about is the durable versus non-durable products, and actually also versus services. So here we have, in this case, we are categorizing the products more on how long they are going to live. We're not categorizing the products on how can we interact with them, but how long are they going to be living and having a life as a product. When you talk about durable products, you talk about products that actually have a relatively long lifespan. You think about things like the camera that I'm using for recording this video. It's going to last several years. It's not going to be something that in some days or weeks or even months is going to fade away and I cannot use it anymore. Are things that have relatively long lifespans, and then I can use them over and over again. Cars, many toys in general are actually also durable products. The non-durable products are products that actually don't last very long. Typically, all the food you can imagine is going to be in general non-durable because, first of all, if you don't eat it within a time frame, it's going to go bad. But also in the moment that you eat it, it's out, it's gone, and well, maybe it lasts a little bit longer if it's something that it's, I don't know, a bag of candy, so it just doesn't go in one time. But it's something that it's going to fade away or you are going to consume it relatively fast. Also, things like non-refillable batteries are actually non-durable products. Some of them, they can last really long, but in general, something that is going to last some months or some weeks, depends on how much or how heavily you are using the products. And then finally, there are services. So services are things that you actually consume one time, and that's it. You could say actually this is a little bit almost related to the non-durable products. If you think about food being a service, for example, having a coffee being a service, is it a non-durable product or is it a service? So you could argue that some of them might not be that clear, at least not for me. But in general, a service is something that you consume and then it's gone. So you go to a movie, you buy a movie ticket, you see the movie in the movie theater if you're lucky enough to have that experience nowadays, or you just see the movie at home, then it's gone, you rent it, and then the movie is out. You cannot see it anymore. That's a service. Then once it has expired, then it is out and you have to pay again. So here you can see that there's very different types of products, and the way that you are going to sell these products is going to be very different. Typically for durable products, you're going to have a one payment fee, and then you can use the product forever. Sometimes they are going to have maintenance fee, and that's a different story. Many software companies have translated that into a purchase fee for a license and then a maintenance fee for the actual license over the years. And you can see the same way of doing it with cars. You pay for the car initially, but then you pay an entrance fee, and then you actually then had to continue paying for maintenance fees over the years. Every time that you had to take your car for a car service, for example, or something is broken that you had to fix it. That is another way of selling those ones. Then when it comes to services, it depends on how you do it. It can be like a movie ticket, then it's a one-time service, a one-time fee, but it can be also a recurring service. So it can be like what you have with Netflix. You pay a monthly fee. In the moment that you stop paying for that monthly fee, that service is going to stop working once the latest payment has expired. You can see that there's different ways of actually doing the go-to-market depending on the different type of product that you're building. The next category is going to be B2B versus B2C. B2B meaning business to business, and B2C meaning business to consumer. In the B2B business, what you are actually doing is that you are providing a service for another company. You're not providing a service for a user. You're providing a service for a company. And this is when companies are actually selling services to other companies. So what you are providing for transportation, for example, transportation of goods, typically that's something that is done as B2B, is not done for the end consumer. So when you think about these massive ships that go filled with containers, these are shipping goods between different companies. On the other hand, what you have is business to consumer. Here you are actually building products to end users, to typically you or I. You are yourself the end user of the product, and you are the one that is going to take benefit from it. You typically, when you're thinking about B2C, you are talking about things like mobile phones and the applications within the mobile phone, typically your TV. Many of these things are actually business to consumer. Business to business and business to consumer are very different in the way that they actually do value. Typically, the value proposition for a business to business is very clear. You're actually helping the other company, providing a service that is going to make their lives better. It's going to help them by improving efficiencies, by reducing costs, by improving workflows, whatever it is, you are making the life better for the other company, and actually you are having a direct impact potentially on the revenue of that company, either by actually saving costs or saving time or whatever it is that you are providing. When it comes to business to consumer or B2C, it's not that clear. So what is the value of actually owning items as a consumer? There are items and there are products that actually have a direct impact on your life, and that is going to help you to whatever it is. Think about a bicycle. It might help you to get from A to B in a faster way or in a funnier way or whatever it is, but it's actually having a clear impact on your life. Sometimes other things like social media, it doesn't actually have such a clear impact. Well, it has a clear impact, obviously, but what is the real benefit? Can you live without it? Of course, you can live without many things. But many times when you think about B2C, you really have to dig in. How are you going to actually sell this to your customers? Because it's something that usually they can relatively easily live without. Think about games, mobile games, or your Xbox or your PlayStation. Do you really need it? Do you really want to use it? Probably, because it entertains you. Is it a good way of spending your time or not? That's a topic for a different video. If you're interested, I have a video about talking more in depth about the difference between B2C and B2B, so I'll link it up here, so if you want to, you can take a look. And finally, I wanted to talk about purchasing products online and offline. This is not necessarily obviously a category of the products as such, but more like a go-to-market strategy for how to sell your products. Most of the physical products, most of the tangible products typically are going to be sold offline. Typically you can go to a shop and actually purchase them. Non-durable products in most of the cases as well. Nowadays things though are changing, and there are a lot of online shops which are actually providing tangible products and also non-durable products. You can purchase food online. Typically it's not going to be the fresh food, but also those services start to appear. And you can say that delivery of meal at home, that's a way to actually purchase online a non-durable product. But it's very common then to actually being able to purchase things like packed food, food that is going to last a little longer time than just your typical one that is going to last a week or something like that. Online products typically are going to be more the ones that you are actually going to purchase typically online. It's going to be like software products, and also many times nowadays you are actually purchasing things like clothes and so on. One of the big differences here is actually how you are going to do the sales. Typically, when you're doing offline sale, you will have a one-to-one relationship with some kind of salesperson. When you are doing online purchase, sorry, I'm confusing both of them now, you're actually not going to have so much interaction and probably non-interaction whatsoever with anybody. So in these cases, marketing for online products is extremely important. It's very important that you make aware, that you make sure that people discover your products online. When you have a sales force, when you have an actual amount of people that are working to do your sales, then you can actually task them to actually be the ones that help others discover. Of course, you can also have marketing combined with sales teams. So that's also another possibility. Software products are an interesting one. Many times in the past, they have been sold as physical products, as DVDs or Blu-rays or whatever is the format that they come in. Especially for games, you can find them a lot still in the shops that they are still selling the physical DVDs or whatever is the format that they are using. So that's not that uncommon to still see. But nowadays, obviously, most of the people are actually purchasing them online because convenience. And if we think about online products and offline products, then we are talking more about the distinction between the tangible and the non-tangible products or intangible products. So physical or usually software tech products. So now we have talked on the different types of products and how could you sell them and how are they going to be potentially used or perceived by the user. But in most of the cases, when you have new products or when you have a product, you always have to think or try to think out of the box. How can you make things better or the experience better for the end user, and that you are not trapped on the typical ways of working. So this is going to be a very important thing for you to do, to investigate when you are building a product. And this means that even if you are not building tech products, or even if you are building tech products, you should always think and pay attention on how could you actually do things in an easier way for your end user. How can you make life easier for them? Not even with just your product, but also on how they adopt your product, how they purchase your product, how they actually get to contact somebody to try to figure out how to use your product. It doesn't matter what you're selling. Just always think about how can you make your user's life easier, and not just by providing the solution, but providing the best experience that you can always do. So what do you think? Did I miss any product types? Did I miss any potential classification of products that could be seen in a different way? So if you have any comments, please comment below and let me know. As always, I will see you next week. And remember, stay safe.